So here on Demo Day, getting into the afternoon, we're all getting a little bit more pink, so we're hiding in the shade. Here with Vosh from Mizuno, looking at, going to talk a little bit of tech on the new products, the irons that come out, the woods that we're just about to get in the next week or so in the studio. So we've had an amazing year with the MP series. The updates in tech to the 223 in particular has just transformed that. That's really kind of the staging ground between the Blade and the 225. That's been just a fantastic head for us.
Right.
And then just had the JPX 923 hot metals and just had the forged in recently. So as the iron-wise, there have been some great developments on that. So,
for sure.
But interesting that high launch head.
Yeah, so it's really fascinating what we've done. The hot metal family has become almost a family of its own. You know, obviously we've got the heritage of the MP, we've got the JPX. What we've done with the hot metal, with the chromoly material, is so nice. It's able to get such good ball speed, great launch, good spin rates and everything. However, they're distance golf clubs. You know, they're designed to go far. That's the whole point of it. The struggle with that is that there's so many players who that strengthening of lofts becomes detrimental to them. So, you know, the world of game improvement for giving golf clubs is almost turned into distance clubs. So with the hot metal high launch, we now have an option for that player that still utilizes the technology of the nickel chromoly for the thin face, great ball speed, and explosive Mizuno feel, but we have different head options for the fitting world.
And the chromoly material, for those that aren't into their nickel plating and chrome material, it's a high strength material that allows it to go thinner on the face, faster ball speeds. The strength helps to get that rebound a bit quicker. Takes a little bit of weight out the face. You can put weight in the bottom, just sort of nick your stuff, but essentially it allows Mizuno to put weight in different areas that others can't get.
Right, and what I love about the material, yes, it's very strong, yes, it's very powerful, but at the same time, it still allows you to custom fit it. You can still bend it to your proper specs. And you've seen it actually start as a hot metal material. It started with the JPX 900, worked its way just in the hot metal family, and now it's all the way down to the Mizuno Pro 223s you talked about are made from the chromoly material. So endless number of utilizations of how you can get the most out of that material for a good combination of forged feel when you're forging it with, for example, the 223s or the JPX 923 forged or forged from a chromoly, or if you cast it with a nickel chromoly on the hot metal Pro, or hot metal high launch.
And the high launch, just kind of tie up on this one, I think it was Mizuno that said the stats that 50% of golfers struggle with launch.
Right.
So, but the way the sole's been shaped as well, so it's not just a added loft club, the engineering is completely different.
So it's interesting. We've seen a lot of manufacturers right now, they'll have two specs of the same club, where it's literally just nothing but they bent them weaker. Every time you adjust loft, you adjust bounce, you adjust sole angle and the playability of the sole. This is a completely unique design. So with that, the engineering, the weighting, the performance of the sole is not going to suffer because you need that higher loft.
So irons-wise, the final bits, the tour and the forge have just come into the studio, so we'll be looking to work with those a little bit more. But woods is a big wood launch with Mizuno this year.
It really is.
And actually, the last few years there's been a real progression of woods, and it's something that, rightly or wrongly, Mizuno have kind of. Not Mizuno have lost focus, but I think a lot of consumers have almost forgotten that Mizuno do woods. But we've now seen a succession of launches with progressive tech companies.
Well, honestly, I don't want to put that all on the consumer. Mizuno, if you look at our focus and how we've spoken for the last number of years, for the longest time, we had top players, our staff guys, using our competitors' woods. That's changed, and that's changed because of the product we've put out, and that's changed because of our focus towards those categories. So the last couple of generations with our ST family, ST190, 200, STZNX, and the STZNX 220, we were catching up. We were speeding up and adding speed and stability to each one. While we were doing that, we were working on some new tech in the background, and that new technology is this core tech chamber that's going to live on the ST230 family. Great new technology, it's very visible, it's got a cool look to it, but what it truly is, it's a TPU material that cuts all the way into the head, and embedded within that is actually a steel I-beam in there. What that steel I-beam does is, one, because of the density of that steel, it concentrates that mass low and forward, which is going to lower that sweet spot, which is going to help for launch and lowering spin. But also, because it cuts all the way through the head, it allows for more flex of the face. More flex of the face equals higher ball speed, equals lower stress on that face. So it allows us to get more aggressive with what we can do. So it's going to increase ball speed. The tricky thing about it, like the other added benefit that people don't really realize also, is the inertial force that's generated because of that stainless steel embedded within the TPU. As it compresses and decompresses, that stainless actually decompresses quicker than the face does. So it's actually additional energy towards the ball. So we've seen the highest ball speeds we've ever measured with this. And for us and for our competitors, fantastic numbers, and tour adoption has been amazing with it.
I think it's interesting hitting some earlier with it, the launch of it. So I was hitting a 9.5 in its low loft, but the flight, it's still kept, even the fairway wood as well. What's notable, I think, with this series for me is the depth of the fairway wood head versus the actual launch you got from it.
Right.
Certainly that head, the flight, I mean, I'm seeing on your part of the range much higher launch angles than other brands as well.
Yeah.
And is that partly to do with the steel chamber in?
It absolutely is. Again, the concentration of mass there where we are doing that, that's lowering that sweet spot. That's when you lower the sweet spot, you add vertical gear effect. Add vertical gear effect equals higher launch, lower spin. So you're seeing that where a club that doesn't necessarily look like it's going to go high launches in a slightly different window than you expect. Great things for playability.
Yeah, I mean, really, and the stability as well. I think with the kind of 220G that we've had, the spin profile, the low spin element, very good, and actually versatility with the movable weights. But as you said, ball speed, it's never low. No brand's going to produce a low ball speed, but that does seem to jump off the face pretty different.
This jumps faster. Well, and a big thing is the predictability of ball speed. The STG is really good for super low spin, but that super low spin comes with a little bit of a sacrifice. That sacrifice being off-center forgiveness, and in general, average ball speed, because you're not going to center every one of them. So the average ball speed of that's going to be slightly lower just because of that. But that new Core-Tech chamber on the new Z and X, they both deliver phenomenal launch and speed.
And that goes through all the driver fairway hybrids.
Correct. It's a technology that we were so excited about, and we first saw and did our first testing on the driver, but the same concept holds true for a fairway and hybrid when you're trying to develop those. So we do have it throughout the entire STZ230 family.
And would it be fair to say that the hybrid is that a little bit more of a sweepers club? Because I've always been a little bit more I'm a driving iron.
Right.
So I've never been a hybrid player.
Yep.
But kind of noticeable having a little bit of a play around. And it's a snapshot because it's only a few shots, but kind of probably with that CG just getting a little bit quieter to it, shallower, and seem to pick the flight up a little bit more easily.
Absolutely.
Is that kind of a direction you sort of wanted to go a little more wood-like?
So it's with that wood type design. We had the we had the CLK beforehand for a number of years.
Yeah.
The CLK was a little bit of an intimidating design, and with that, it was a very, very low spin design. That very low spin meant you almost needed to attack it a little steeper to generate that lift. With the newer one, because the sweet spot is lower and it's going to launch, you are able to sweep it a little bit easier, and it's going to naturally get that launch and that height because of sweet spot location, because of what's driven by the Core-Tech chamber. So again, all these things factor into the playability of it.
The nice thing is that story about the flighting, if you look at the HL on the iron and the CG location, the ball flight off the woods, there's a nice continuation of that story through the models. I think we're seeing so many times from a fitting point of view, I guess irons in particular, where lofts have gone crazy, CG's low, you're gearing the spin off. So actually, I mean, across a few of the brands now, it's quite obvious where there's just not enough flight for the average golfer.
Absolutely. When you look at Mizuno's lineup, from woods to drivers to iron, you name it, fitting is the forefront of what we do. If we bring a new technology, it can't just work for those fast swing speed players. It can't work for tour level. It has to work to the masses. It has to fit. It has to work in the fitting bays. That's where clubs are sold. That's why people go to get fit. So with ours, you see a lot of different loft and bounce options on the wedges, lots of different loft options on the irons, all delivering the same technology. On here, we have two different head profiles, the Z and the X, for different deliveries into the ball and what you're trying to do with it, but all with the same technology. So again, it's all about bringing the technology to the masses and then fitting it to everybody.
Well, I want to thank you for your time.
Of course.
It was great to get a deep dive into the tech.
Anytime.
With any of you guys, but I hope you've enjoyed the session. Any questions, let us know. We'll see you soon.